Right now, there's a system quietly keeping America rich. If it collapses, your savings, your job, your cost of living, all could change overnight. We're talking about doubling prices at the pump, a grocery bill that makes you sick, and a future that looks nothing like the present. This isn't just about abstract economics. This is about your wallet. Fact, this hidden system, known as the petrodollar, has powered American prosperity for half a century. But here's what no one tells you. It's under attack, and then everything changes. After America left the gold standard in 1971, a desperate deal was struck. Saudi Arabia agreed to sell its oil only in US dollars and reinvest those dollars back into our economy. This wasn't charity, it was a power move that forced the world to hold dollars. It literally made our currency the global king. Fact, this deal enabled the US to print more money without sparking inflation, fund its massive military, and dominate global finance. It's the silent force behind American exceptionalism. But every empire has its fatal flaw. What if the world suddenly decides it doesn't need the dollar anymore? Countries like China, Russia, even allies are actively building alternatives. They're making deals to trade oil and gas in yuan, in rupees, in anything but dollars. This isn't a conspiracy theory, it's a brutal fact. Fact, if the world stops using the dollar, the US can't print money the same way anymore. The immediate impact? Massive inflation. We're talking about prices you can't afford, mortgages you can't pay, and a standard of living that free falls. Why explained, this is where it gets dangerous. The petrodollar isn't just economic, it's military. Over 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. The US Navy patrols that strait not just for trade, but to enforce the dollar's dominion. Challenge the dollar there, and you challenge American power directly. What if a nation, say Iran, tried to truly disrupt that flow or demand payment in non-dollar currencies? This isn't just about oil, it's about control. And America's response would be swift, devastating, and potentially global. This isn't theory, it's a military game plan. Fact, throughout history, when a reserve currency fails, the consequences are brutal. We've seen hyperinflation, social breakdown, even war. The dollar collapsing isn't just an economic event, it's a civilization-altering one. The silent war also plays out in the shadows. Cyber attacks targeting financial institutions, backroom deals for resource swaps, and the quiet buildup of alternative payment systems. This isn't front-page news, but it's happening, and it's accelerating. And then the system breaks completely. What if a major oil producer, like Saudi Arabia, finally cuts its ties to the petrodollar? What if they agree to sell their oil in any currency? This isn't far-fetched. This is the conversation happening behind closed doors right now. And here's where it gets truly unsettling. Fact, when the dollar weakens globally, it means every import becomes more expensive for Americans. Your clothes, your electronics, even your coffee suddenly cost a fortune. It's a quiet tax on every household, and you won't even see it coming until it's too late. This is the moment it flips. Why explained, the petrodollar allows us to rack up trillions in debt because the world keeps buying our treasury bonds with their oil dollars. If that demand vanishes, our debt crisis becomes a catastrophic reality. Imagine the interest rates. Imagine what our government would have to cut. What if America can no longer fund its obligations? What if the federal government suddenly has to choose between Social Security, Medicare, or national defense? The political and social upheaval would be unimaginable. This isn't just economics, it's the glue holding our society together. But there's a twist you won't see coming. Unexpected twist. What if the US already knows this and is quietly preparing for a world without the dollar? What if behind the scenes they're developing the next global financial architecture, one that will redefine power once again? Wait, what? America's strength isn't just the petrodollar, it's our innovation, our entrepreneurial spirit, and our democratic values. A collapse would force a painful but perhaps necessary reckoning. We'd be forced to pivot, to build new foundations for prosperity, not just rely on an old system. What if this looming crisis could actually be a catalyst? What if the US used this moment to lead the charge in new financial technologies, to truly innovate beyond fossil fuels and redefine its global role? It would be a brutal transition, but one that could secure a stronger future. Fact, the silent war is a struggle for the next century of global power. The outcome will decide which nations rise and which fall. This isn't just about currencies, it's about control over resources, technology, and the future itself. Demonically impactful. Understanding this isn't about panic, it's about being informed. It's about recognizing the seismic shifts happening beneath the surface of our global economy. America doesn't just sell oil, it sells the dollar, and that fundamental truth is now being challenged. Why explained? Understanding this isn't about panic, it's about being informed. It's about recognizing the seismic shifts happening beneath the surface of our global economy. America doesn't just sell oil, it sells the dollar, and that fundamental truth is now being challenged. What if the next global superpower isn't tied to oil, but to quantum computing, or AI, or clean energy? What if the New World Order doesn't need America's dollar as its anchor? These are the brutal questions we need to be asking. Fact. Your financial future, your stability, your cost of living, all are intricately linked to the outcome of this silent war. To ignore it is to be blindsided. Why explained? Knowing this allows you to prepare, to understand the risks, to explore personal financial strategies that mitigate potential shocks, and to hold your leaders accountable for navigating this treacherous landscape. What if America finds new ways to retain its economic leadership, even without the petrodollar? What innovative solutions could emerge from this challenge? Fact. This de-dollarization isn't hypothetical anymore. In the last year alone, we've seen major oil deals denominated in yuan. India and Russia are trading in rubles. Even traditional allies are exploring alternatives. This isn't just talk, it's economic warfare being waged in plain sight. And then, the cracks deepen. Why explained? One of the biggest threats and potential solutions lies in central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Nations are racing to launch their own digital currencies, which could bypass the traditional banking system, and more importantly, bypass the dollar altogether. This isn't blockchain hype, it's a fundamental shift in how money works. What if the US loses its ability to wield the dollar as a weapon? No more sanctions crippling adversaries, no more funding foreign aid or military operations with ease. America's global influence, its very power to project force, could shrink dramatically. This isn't just economic, it's a redrawing of the entire world order. Fact. For you, this means your retirement accounts, your 401k, your pension, all are denominated in dollars. If that dollar loses its global standing, its purchasing power at home erodes. Your hard-earned savings could buy significantly less. This isn't just about the government, it's about your future security. Why explained? The entire social safety net built on a strong dollar begins to fray. Healthcare costs, education funding, infrastructure projects all become harder to maintain as the nation's core financial strength is challenged. This isn't just a distant economic theory, it's the bedrock of modern American life. What if the world splits into multiple economic blocks with each its own reserve currency, a Chinese yuan block, a euro block, perhaps even a resource-backed currency block? Suddenly, international trade becomes a complex web of currency conversions, adding friction, cost, and uncertainty to everything we buy and sell, and then global stability shatters. Fact. Historically, shifts in global economic power have often been accompanied by geopolitical instability and conflict. The fight for financial supremacy is a fight for actual power, and nations will go to extreme lengths to secure their position in a new world order. And this brings us back to the most chilling thought. If the US is quietly preparing for a world without the dollar, what exactly does that preparation look like? Is it a new digital dollar, faster than all others? Is it a strategic retreat from global dominance? Or a new, even more cunning form of control? The silence is deafening. Why explained? While the petrodollar's reign may be ending, America's spirit of innovation is not. The challenge forces us to adapt, to lead the charge in technologies that redefine finance and power. But this requires your awareness, your demand for transparency, and your understanding of the stakes. What if this transition, however painful, ultimately leads to a more balanced, multipolar world economy, one where no single currency holds absolute sway, fostering more equitable trade and less unilateral power? This is the opportunity hidden within the crisis. Fact. To truly navigate this future, you need to understand these shifts. This isn't just theory, it's the financial earthquake rumbling beneath your feet. Informed choices, diversified assets, and a clear understanding of global dynamics will be your shield. The petrodollar's silent war isn't coming, it's already here. The tremors are getting stronger. If this system collapses, it won't just change economies, it will change how you live forever. What do you think will happen if the petrodollar collapses? Share your most brutal facts and darkest what-if scenarios in the comments below. And if you want to understand the true why behind global events and uncover the what-if scenarios shaping your future, hit that subscribe button. Because here at Whymeric, we don't just ask the questions, we bring you the brutal facts.